Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to give you a rundown of the operation of 2005 to 2009 Cadillac STS front door handles. I'm going to show you how they work, the inputs that are needed for the system to operate. I'm going to show you how to service those inputs. I'm going to show you how to remove and install the exterior door handle, and I'm going to give you some part numbers. I'm also going to give you some tips and tricks on how to service failed microswitches. So, first, operation. So, this system is the type of keyless entry which does not involve pressing any of the buttons on the key. You simply approach the vehicle with the key in your pocket, and you should be able to pull the handle and the door should open. So, once you're within 1 meter of the vehicle, the door handle, which has an integrated antenna, will detect your presence and send a signal to the driver door module or the passenger door module and tell it that the key is present. But it also needs to know if you're trying to open the door, because you can't just have it so you walk up and the door magically opens anytime you get close to it. So there are 2 switches that need to be triggered. Those switches are triggered by a indent on the handle when you pull it. The switches look like this. They are micro switches. And when you pull the handle, both of these get pressed. And when they are both pressed, that sends another signal, 2 signals, to the driver door or passenger door module that the door handle is being opened. Once it has those 3, it has to have all 3, it will send a signal to the door latch, which is electronic. It is this large module here, and that pulse will trigger this latch, which will pop the door open. This is a driver door latch. You can tell because it has the physical latch for the key. So, important things. It needs, like I said before, the driver door or passenger door module has to have all 3 of those inputs to work. If it sees just one switch and the handle, it will not open the door. If it sees both switches and no handle, it will not open the door. If it sees the handle and no switches, it will not open the door. It needs to have all 3. And, bummer, there are very few DTCs that can set to help you out here. So no, driving to AutoZone, having them check for DTCs will not help you here. There's very few, and the few that do set are very unlikely to set. So, like I said, I'm not going to get too in depth on how to diagnose it, but I'll show you how to service the items because I found very little information on that. And if you don't know how to service these items, you're going to break something or spend too much money. So, let's first talk about the handle. This handle, as I said, is an integrated antenna. You cannot service the antenna separately. You must service the door handle. And these are paint to match. So if you buy a new one, you're going to have to paint it to match the vehicle. Hopefully you can find a used one in a salvage yard like I did that is black to match your vehicle, or whatever color your vehicle is, obviously. That's not too complicated. It's one piece. The door latch is serviced as an assembly. You can buy these on Rock Auto still, as of November 2019 when I'm making this video. I don't know a lot about actually diagnosing these. I haven't had one go bad yet. But I know the motors can fail, and there's a lot going on in here. So, by the way, this is the interior door handle lever. So, even if all the electronics fail, you pull this, it will open the door from the inside. Now, the micro switches. These micro switches are located in the harness for the interior door handle. Sorry, not the interior door handle, but the exterior door handle housing. The harness looks like this. As you can see, the micro switches are built into this plastic housing, which is then built into the harness itself. So, how do you service these? Well, GM recommends purchasing an all-new housing. This housing will include this harness and include the micro switches, but not include your lock cylinder, which is fine. So, if you don't want to spend the $80 plus to buy the whole housing, you can service it separately by pulling this out. So, there are two clips on the back here, which can be used to remove it from the housing. Once you have this out, you'll need to use a Dremel tool to grind out the potting material in the back of the switches. Then you remove the wires, and they'll probably already be removed from you dremeling so much, and you push these switches forward and out. Then, to reinstall them, you'll need to get some new switches, one of which I have here. These switches are installed this direction, but first, you'll need to give yourself some slack on the harness here, pull these wires through this black housing, which, by the way, will look like this. Once the wires have been pulled through, you'll solder them to the new switches. Very small points. It will be tricky. If this is your first soldering experience, you'll definitely need to practice quite a bit. You will solder the wires identical to the way they are currently soldered. Even though they are not the same switch, the poles are the same. Just make sure you get a nice clear picture of the wire locations before you Dremel them out and forget where they went. Once you solder them to the switch, you will push the switch in. Then you will lay the wires down as tight as you can, like that, and you'll install new potting material or other non-electrically conductive sealer, such as a silicone that specifically states it is electrical safe. If you forget that, and you have these wires coming out here straight up, you'll be very disappointed when you try to install them into your housing and realize that they do not fit at all, and you'll be disappointed. So, once you have those laid in there and soldered in, and the potting material is in, you can clip them back into your housing, which will look like this. Hang on. When the door handle is pulled, it is dragged across these, which activates them. This is semi-exposed to the elements. This rubber seal will fail on top here, and water gets in there and shorts them out. That's how they go bad. Or they go, well, I mean, they can go bad for other reasons. They can break off. They can just get worn out. The contacts can go bad inside them. A lot of reasons. But anyways, you need to understand how to properly uninstall and reinstall the exterior door handle. You need to be a pro at it before you try to go at it. And if you are not, you will break it. You'll break the handle, you'll break your micro switches, you'll break your confidence. We don't want that. So I will attempt to show you how to do it with one hand. Thankfully, you'll have two hands. Sort of. Because you're not actually going to be able to get your hands inside the door to do this. You will actually need to use a long screwdriver or a pry bar. Not using force, but using it as an extended finger, essentially. So, I'll try to get this set up here. First, I want to do it in order, so I'm going to install it off camera here really quick, and then I'm going to show you how to remove it first. Hang on. This is what it looks like installed when you try to remove it the first time. The way you're going to do it is you're going to take your screwdriver, push this lever in, do not pry it up, push it in, and then you're going to pull the door handle back towards the back of the car. You need to make sure that this lever goes in front of this notch and rests on this ridge here. All right, let's see if I can do it. Push it in, push the door handle back. Now it's in the right position for removal. Pop. Out. No damage. Let's try to reinstall it, which is going to be the trickier one. So, if you just slot it in and you try to install it, you're going to get in this situation where it looks maybe like it's installed, but it's just kind of stuck there. The lever is not installed right, and it just falls out again. So, what you need to do, push it farther back like this, then push the lever forward and back, like so. So what you're gonna do, I really don't know if I can do this on camera. You're gonna get lots of space, push it in. And I'm not gonna be able to. But anyway, so you're gonna push this in and back. And then you're gonna pull the door handle forward. Let me see if I can set this up here so you can see it. Okay. Pushing it in. Pushing it back. Well, didn't quite get it. There we go. Boom. Now, I can hear the micro switches clicking, and the lever is in the correct position. So, if you're going to attempt to install the micro switches, here are the part numbers. I purchased them from this supplier online, and there's the part number. Do not order just the ones you need. Be sure to purchase extra. I've also heard that if you find these with wires attached to them already, they may not be able to be installed. So you may have to purchase the ones that have no wires and solder them yourself. Let me think if there's anything I'm missing here. How about I show you how this is supposed to operate now that I have new micro switches installed on my vehicle. I'm gonna grab my key. Let's go outside. These are nice cars if you can get these doors to work properly. So, this is the front doors only. So you cannot get the rear open. I'm going to approach the front door. and as you can see, it opened with very little hesitation. See how fast it can go. Pretty quick. It works very well. And even as I keep pulling it, you can hear it. I just installed these yesterday. That's why the panel is still off. You will need to remove this to get to it, but I'm not going to get too in depth in that. Like I said, there's another video online about that. But here's that interior door handle rod, which you saw was connected to the latch, which is here. Thankfully, the latch is only 2 bolts, here and here. When you are installing and uninstalling this panel, or sorry, the exterior door handle, there is a hole somewhere in this area that you will be able to reach a screwdriver through to do what I did with my thumbs in the video a few minutes ago. And just for explanation's sake, there is your door module. There is one in each door. They're located on the door itself. Well, thanks for watching. I hope these tips help you out. If you want to know more info, let me know. I really do like to have everything working on my cars, so I really tackled these hardcore.